We are back, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. As always, this is 24/7 Comics Live. We've been doing a lot of these, and it's because we are into our last week of EVERMIND. If you have not checked out EVERMIND yet, please definitely check out our Kickstarter. I will actually throw it down right now and do a quick plug because it's important. Today is the third Wednesday before the campaign ends, and so where we are today is we're at 307 backers. Thank you very much, guys. We're also doing a very special drawing today, and this drawing is a giveaway for first place, second place, and third place CGC slabs, with the number one being signature series. And so, today's a really special day, not only because we are doing this giveaway, but we also are celebrating by having a live stream with our partners at DGC. And actually, I think Francis is joining us on stage today as well. What's up, Francis?
Hey.
Oh, my goodness. So we got to introduce Francis. Francis is our campaign manager at 24/7 Comics and has been the man behind coordinating a lot of the awesome promotions that you guys have seen happening. So why don't we kind of kick off doing a quick intro of Chris and Daniel first. I think today's stream is really for our audience to get to know you guys a little better. We are passionate fans of digital. It's probably similar to how Francis are passionate fans of film and TV. And so I would love for our audience to get to know you guys better and hear from you guys on, how DGC came about and what the mission is.
Yeah, no, it sounds great. And yeah, again, thanks for bringing us on stream. And I have to say, first of all, obviously Francis and I had a chat a few weeks ago, just before the start of the Kickstarter, and the work Francis does was incredible. We had a good deep dive on digital, didn't we, Francis, on our chat? So
yeah.
So in essence, Chris and I, we'll give you a bit of backstory about our physical collecting journey, but largely we're digital guys. Can I hear some boos, I think, out there potentially? So some boos, yeah.
I love my physical stuff as I get older. I really do prefer digital, but I'm still a hoarder at heart.
Yeah, exactly. So so we're obviously more in the digital framework, more specifically Vivi, if people in the audience have heard of Vivi. So yeah, we were collectors on there. We then created a brand called California Comics, which is the first metaversal comic book store. So basically a digital equivalent for your LCS, and things just really snowballed from there. We've got a very great relationship with the guys at Vivi, which has then spurred our great relationship with yourselves, being a publisher on their app. And then more recently, we've been developing over a few years, or over a couple of years, a way to maybe make our digital assets and comics and collectibles just look a little bit more fancy and something that means to us. So we developed Grading, which is DGC, which is Digital Grading Company. Something I'm sure we can come on to a bit more detail. So we're that's where we're at the moment.
Awesome. So kcbmw.eth, welcome. Definitely part of the digital collectible world. And we got Mr. Maznak75. Let's go 24/7. Loved EVERMIND series. I could envision a movie hopefully in the near future. You know what? You may be a little prophetic in that regard, but we'll revisit that later. So how about you, Chris? You've kind of been also the man at DGC and behind the scenes and really being part of it. We'd love to hear a little bit about your journey.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having us on too. This is great. Like many in this new digital space, I was a physical collector for many, many years. I started comics when I was 10 or 12 years old. Right?
Nice.
So a couple years ago, we'll say, right? But
only three.
Yeah, just a few, right? Amassed a big bag, a big set, had boxes, had everything, and then of course life starts hitting, and marriage and small condos and all that kind of stuff. But I kept the best of the best assets, and through life, you kind of get out of the space a little bit, and then this digital thing shows up with Vivi, and then DC was doing their assets as well. And I just jumped right back in. I said, this is so easy to re-participate And of course, my wife was very happy because I wasn't suddenly stacking things all over the house. So my collection comes with me in my phone. And Daniel and I met, several years ago through the app, through Collecting Passions. We were, I think, following each other on Twitter at the time, now X, right? And just noticing posting very special mint numbers, edition numbers that we were each accumulating in the space, and
Cool.
it quickly connected with a few other people that are behind the DGC brand, and we started to really say, hey, you know, we're doing something a little different that most aren't noticing just yet. There's a lot of passion in how we're putting assets together.
Mm.
And that, a few years ago, and then we got really deep down the rabbit hole and said, you know, there's no one in the space that's actually doing this. Why don't we take a stab at it and share the passion? And really what it was all about at the end of the day is helping more and more people be educated into digital collecting, why it might be a little different than physical, but still connected to the root of physical. And if anything, I know Daniel alluded to this, you know, how do we enhance the space? How do we make this more enjoyable? Take the things that physical collectors love, you know, hunting through garage sales and the bargain bins in the LCSs, and, you know, how do we recreate that into the digital space where a lot of people are like, you can't grade these things. There's no physical difference. They're all made exactly the same way and they don't degrade. So that became the clear focus. Well, they're all stamped with an edition number. They're minted on a blockchain in certain orders. And so we can definitely recreate some of that hunting kind of excitement. And that's where we are today. So
yeah, it's great. Thanks for sharing, Chris. And Daniel, I could relate with you. You know, as a fan of physical collectibles, during the Los Angeles fires, Francis, I'm not sure how far you were from it, but I was 4 miles away, and I was location scouting in Serbia at the time. So my wife, you know, what could she do with this? Like nothing. Like these would just burn away. Yeah. But when it comes to a lot of what's happening in digital space, I also see a lot of you know, copycat scenarios, and maybe it goes on both ways. But Magic the Gathering now is moving towards serializing cards, and you're noticing serialized cards are actually more trusted than when they say something is rare. So, for example, Final Fantasy had a, you know, golden chocobo, and it was like, you know, 1 of 77, and they were numbered, and they're, you know, they went from 20 grand, 40 grand, now they're like 80 grand, right? But Infinity gems, Infinity stones on the latest Spider-Man set, they're not serial number, but they're probably more rare than the chocobos, but it's going for less because there's this, you know, a lack of trust, I think, due to just all of us collectors in the past and what we've come across. And I think there is something about, you know, a lot of these like digital mechanics that come in that help collectors value in a certain way. And now, for those of you who are not as familiar with VV, wanted to do a quick kind of run through. So VV is 24/7 Comics go-to digital partner, and now you know, we have DGC as well. And so when the guys were referencing VV, this is what they're talking about. And so what VV allows you to do is within a safe, closed ecosystem, you could collect your favorite comic books, you could collect your favorite digital toys. Original art was the recent thing, which I love. And so it's you know, I think as much as it's kind of a niche and it's kind of quiet, I think it's you know, it's a matter of time before people really start picking it up and gain momentum on it. So now, while we have Francis here, you know, as a rare sighting, he's been mostly behind the scene. Francis, would love for you to kind of share with your audience, you know, your concept for Wednesday Wins, and, you know, the relevancy of this partnership and how it's been for you as an experience on this EVERMIND campaign.
Well, it's been great. Honestly, I have to credit Daniel with the original inspiration, because he came to us and suggested a giveaway, you know, and that was what was the initial inspiration that turned into this raffle where, you know, Carl, you dug back into the vaults of 24/7 and found these other slab copies, physical slab copies that we were able to offer. But it was Daniel's initial suggestion to offer for this is the first prize, is the physical edition of EVERMIND 1 paired with the digital version, you know. So which will be more valuable in 10 years? Only time will tell. But then that
out of the bag.
yes, and so it all kind of sort of came born out of that. And once we had the giveaway, we wanted an opportunity to check in with backers and stay active throughout the campaign, and that's how we came up with these Wednesday win days, where every Wednesday you would get double your chances at this giveaway if you pledge. That includes today for anybody last minute, and then we decided to offer new items every Wednesday, and that's what they became. Unlocking add-ons and sometimes rewards. I can kind of go through them if we have a moment, Carl, to talk about what we've offered since the campaign began. So our first Wednesday win day was literally the day after we launched. So it was like we didn't get to do maybe as much fanfare with that one. But what we found was that Sean's original commissions were selling like hotcakes. And so we were able to talk to Sean and get him to commit to offer some more. And that was our first Wednesday unlock, which happened, as I said, like right after we launched. But it was more 9 by 12 and 11 by 17 commissions. And some of those are still available for anybody who's interested in getting an original commission from Sean. That was what we offered on the first one. Then the next week, I'm going through the updates so that I make sure I don't.
Oh, the updates. There you go.
Yeah, I'm looking at the updates to like make sure. So then the next one was the card game. Was the big one.
Yes.
We have the EVERMIND card game, which is a strategy game based on the story of EVERMIND, and that is now available as an add-on. So it's not a reward, but if you are a backer, you can add it on to your order. And then also we broke out the metal and holographic foil covers as individual issues. So you can look at each one, and if you're really interested just in issue 2 or whatever, you can now buy those individually. That was what we offered for our second Wednesday win. And then the third one, if memory serves, was the pin set. I'm going to tell you right now, the main one for that was the EVERMIND pin set. And that's really cool. And it's got some of the art from some of the other artists who've contributed that some of which is in the stretch goals that we have outlined. Some of that art shows up here. So this is more rare contributions to the EVERMIND universe in terms of the artists behind it.
And can you get those pins independently to buy them separately, or are they only on the Kickstarter campaign?
It's on the Kickstarter campaign as a collection. I believe we can also buy it. You can buy it from 24/7 on their website, but not individually. Yes. They are a set.
Yeah. On the website, you can actually buy them individually, but for this, we just made it a very special price, which is like super cheap compared to what's on the website. So yeah, if you want to buy individual, that's totally cool too. But we are encouraging folks to get a set because these are amazing.
And it's a great value right now if you do it through the EVERMIND campaign. And then today we offered the artist editions. This is something that we offered for the first EVERMIND campaign. They're now available on this one as well, which is without the lettering and without the coloring. You're just getting Sean Chen's original line art for the entire issue. And so we now have a reward tier for people who grabbed the 1 to 3 on the first campaign can get 4 to 6 now. So they'll have the full set. We also have a catch-up tier if you didn't. And this is just, the artist editions. And then they're also available as add-ons. So if you've already backed the campaign, but you're interested in that, you can now add that on. All that was unlocked today.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because we had initially, based on feedback, ended up going heavier on the holofoil and the metal covers. And then after, we launched a campaign, there's been a few streams where people brought up to Sean, like, where do we get the artist covers for 4 through 6? Because I love the 1 through 3. And so this week we decided, you know what, I think it makes sense to bring it back, because I think there is an intrinsic love for the line art, especially for collectors today. I'm not sure if you guys been tracking what's been happening in the art market, but things are just going completely insane as people are looking for the one-of-one rarities in collecting. And so, yeah, that's kind of our update. And today's a big day, leading up to this. What's the last 3 weeks been like, guys? I mean, I know, we kind of, I always call it like a Venn diagram. If you guys live in this kind of digital world and VV and the drops, we kind of live in this kind of physical / digital, and where the Venn diagram meets is kind of what we're here for today. So how's it been the last 3 weeks? Has this, been helpful for you guys and your mission? And maybe would love to kind of have you guys talk more about the mission of DGC, and then how a collaboration like this feeds into materializing what you guys are trying to do for the digital space. So yeah, feel free, either you, Daniel or Chris, up to you guys.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So just going to a point that really resonated with me, and I know when I spoke with the guys at DGC was the same, is that when we first come across 24/7 being on the VV app, it's just how much you guys do for the community. As a collector, it's important for me to feel like you're rewarded in some way, and I think that's no different with how you've designed the Kickstarter campaign. There's so many give backs for people giving, which I think is outstanding. So it's been great for us. And just another point you said there about the Carl, about like the art market and one-of-ones, and not to plug VV too much, but we're seeing it frequently in that space where whether it is a one-of-one NFT, or if there's an edition number like the Street Fighter drop they're doing in the next couple of weeks. There's our mutual friends at Comics and Crypto have put a bounty out on the Ryu 1987 edition number, $4,000. There's going to be 1,987 of those actually created, but that one edition number is very unique and special to them, and I think there's a few people chasing that particular bounty. Right. And I think that really ties in again with, I suppose, our mission with the DGC aspect. It just gives more recognition and establishment to this sort of nicheness, which is this edition number and special mint collecting, because it goes far deeper than I think some people realize in terms of just a year association. You've got things like palindromes, rebounds. We've got, I own one personally, Swaggle Horse's Sanity. I've got the edition number 247.
Nice.
24/7 publishing. So I was tempted to do that as a giveaway as well, but it's hard giving away the EVERMIND 2024, which is the one we're doing as well. So but no, this collaboration is it's perfect for us. I think we're all very like-minded, in terms of what we're trying to achieve in the digital space. So this works brilliant for us.
Yeah, and it's been busy. I mean, part of the thing that I really like is the collaboration with new publishers. It's not always just DC and Marvel. This is really exciting time for a lot of just any kind of brand to get into the space and showcase the work, which was something that, again, with VV got me. I was never really a variant cover collector, that type of thing, and all of a sudden VV created rare and ultra rare covers that were custom made just for VV. So the only place you can find some of these is on the app. And I just thought that was something so unique. But the black and white, I certainly love. There's a lot of like just straight pencil work, which sometimes just comes across so beautiful. Yeah. It changed a little bit of the pattern of how I was collecting. And so I went after quite a few of these. And then, being able to showcase the work, the art, the one-of-ones, and then that slowly again started creeping into the numbers that were associated with these, where sometimes I was finding mint numbers that were related to the drop date they first appeared on VV. So the book maybe was created back in the 90s, for instance, as a modern title, but suddenly this was the first time it had shown up in a digital format, and the mint number was kind of representing that. And I thought, well, that's kind of a unique way to grab this cool work from the artist and have it actually stamped that was when it came out. And again, this all these ideas were feeding into how we were creating this space that we're now in. But yeah, and then all of a sudden you realize digital grading of edition numbers is a little bit harder than physical, because there's only a certain number of things that you're going to grade for on a physical asset, from bent pages to color and whatnot. Here, there's so many different varieties, but that's also something that we really wanted to represent. It wasn't just historical reference, or if you were lucky enough, like Daniel, to grab the 247. I mean, that's very impactful because it's stamped right on the edition itself. But then suddenly the palindromes and the binaries Daniel was referring to, we've got collectors in this space that are spending, if not thousands, tens of thousands of dollars curating very, very special sets, sequences of books across an entire variant cover scene. They're collecting the whole set. They're putting these things together, and that was sort of an aha moment. It's like, well, some of those dollars, because of the number of them, that might be pulling a little bit out of the physical space, because sometimes you got to make a decision, right? Am I going to buy the physical, or am I going to go a little harder on the digital? But that was where we said, how do we blend these together? How do we make it exciting for both? So collabs like this are great because we are pairing. The term phygital is now almost in everyone's dialogue, where it's really exciting to have both. I've got the CGC 10.0 green Vivi pin that came out of New York Comic Con, and if he watches this, shout out to Gary O in the community who grabbed that for me, along with a signed copy of Spider-Man book that CGC graded right there. But then you're able to go into the Vivi app, collect the digital, and now I can read it all the time, and I don't have to worry about trying to bust open the case. Right? So I've now got this extra utility.
That is a drawback of a physically slabbed comic.
Yeah, it's an issue, right?
Or, paperweight is no longer something you can read.
Right. But the one thing I don't want to discredit things like Marvel Unlimited, for instance. They fit a really, really unique role in the market, being able to allow for that, enjoy the reading experience, have access to tens of thousands of titles, but you're renting the space. And so in this world, you're actually owning the asset. And so if I read it and I like it, great, I might keep it. If I was like, okay, I need a few bucks now to put back in the wallet to buy the next comic, I have that ability. And that's something that I think is very unique. It's still, we're 4 or 5 years in. It's still new, but it's a concept I think that's just coming. There's so much happening in the world of just what are called real world assets, right? RWAs that are being tokenized, digitized. We're just seeing this starting to happen at a real fast pace. And so this industry is perfect for it because it allows for that flexibility for people to do both now. And so that's where we're really excited about this.
Yeah, we did actually have someone ask recently, well, they sort of critiqued, it's like, if I digitally slab my comic, I don't want to read it. It's like, oh, look, the beauty of being digital is you can do both. But yeah, we have had that feedback too.
Yeah, have that freedom. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There's a lot of app too. Like if there's another app out there, if you guys have heard of this, called Fanable, right? Where you can take your physical book, send it to Fanable. They lock it in a Brinks vault, but before it's locked up, it's scanned, it's digitized, and it's recreated into an NFT, which you then own. And you can trade the NFT, and you can read the NFT, you can enjoy the NFT, and you can resell it all the way down the line until one buyer finally decides to say, hey, you know what? I want to pull that book out of the vault. I want it on my physical shelf. And at that point, the NFT is destroyed. And so there's just so much coming in the space. It's
like
really
an avatar
helpful.
Of the book.
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, in this experience, what you're seeing here on screen, this is our graded version of the EVERMIND #1, right? And so you get this as an asset that you can enjoy. If you have the book on Vivi, right, you can read it as much as you want, but you actually would own the asset. So just the number of things that are coming to make collecting comic books and enjoying them a lot more fun. It's a really exciting time. I've been in digital media now for 20 something years, from when the first banner ads showed up on like Yahoo and whatever it was, to where we are now.
Such big changes.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't see the growth of technology behind the scenes that's making all of this happen. Even the fact that we're on this live stream together, this was unheard of, 10 years ago, right? But we don't think about how the tech works. We just know, hey, this is pretty cool, right? And so you're using it without thinking about it. And I think that's where we're integrating these two spaces.
And what's cool is data says 70% of people watches these live streams on their television now.
Right.
So it's more than just being us nerds in front of our computers or like kids on the phone. Literally, people are tuning in on YouTube to live stream and catching up on these shows as mainstream entertainment. So, so I want to kind of get into a little bit of a 101 discussion, meaning, I'm very familiar with the world, the blockchain world. I dabble in the technology. Sad and also kind of happy to say I've kind of exited most of my position on ETH in the last 3 months at some good heights, and so that's been great. But I still collect some digital assets here and there, and for someone like Francis, I feel like Francis, you are probably a creative at heart, and at the same time also a collector of different things. And from what I know is most of the stuff you're doing is through Kickstarter based physical products. So Chris or Daniel, if you were to kind of maybe Francis first, we'd love to hear from you on your perspective and understanding of this kind of digital collecting space, and then maybe for Daniel and Chris to share more about this EVERMIND sign #1, DCG graded, what it means, what if it's on chain, like how that's been published, and then we can maybe move on to who the future winner can be, and then how they would receive such a thing. So Francis, you first, and then we'll pass it back.
About the prizes. Yeah. I mean, to me, I see it, Carl, coming from a film and TV world like you do, we're always, platforms is everything in terms of how you can get your stuff out there and make a living at it, right? So I'm looking at it more as a creator. This could be an opportunity for another avenue to actually get your work sold and seen and make a living as an artist and a creator. Right now physical media is declining, but at the same time there's this new sort of possible avenue opening up, and changes like that happen. With film in the 90s, indie film had this huge explosion because of theaters, and then gradually those screens sort of disappeared because big studios bought up the small little indie distributors, and then they would take up one screen for 6 months with one movie, and that avenue went away. But DVD emerged as a huge platform for the independent film world, and then after a while DVD disappeared as a platform, and so these things evolve, and so I think it's always a struggle, especially, you were talking about Kickstarter, Carl, when you're on the independent side as a creator to figure out how to get your work out there and to make your money back and make more of it. And so I'm intrigued by this, digitals on Kickstarter, digital editions of comics, every single comic creator in Kickstarter, which, by the way, comics are the biggest, the most, not the biggest, I don't know if they're the biggest, but they're the most funded item on Kickstarter, meaning comics succeed more than any other thing that people sell on Kickstarter. Cool. There's a huge community of collectors on Kickstarter to getting comics there from independent creators. It's, even though publishers have migrated over to there now, it's a really huge platform for the independent world in comics. And digital editions are always an aspect of that, but there's no value to them really, other than you're paying the creator to get to read the work. So this is an opportunity where the digital edition that you get could retain its value in the future, or maybe even increase value, and you could trade it the way you would a physical version. As Carl said, my shelf is completely full now, where I don't have any more room to buy all the. I keep buying comics on Kickstarter, but I don't have any place for them anymore. So I've started. I've kind of moved over to mostly buying digital stuff because I have a lot more room on my hard drive than I do in my little office here.
This is perfect. This is perfect because we have this guy, Francis. His shelf is full. He is ready and primed. So what's the pitch, guys? Like when it comes to getting folks, buying into digital, because I think Chris mentioned a little bit of it earlier, but I would love for you guys to kind of really break down the technicalities of what true digital ownership looks and feel like.
Yeah, well, when I first got into digital, I was probably a little bit late to it. So I would have been the back end of 2021, and I've got two younger brothers who are quite a bit younger than me, and they were in that space. And one of them put a Superman digital collectible on our dining table. We brought it up in augmented reality, and I remember he was trying to talk to me about it, and I just couldn't accept it. It's like this is garbage. Like, what on earth does this mean? And then after a while, I suppose the penny starts dropping.
What does that mean? Wait. I mean, what does it mean he put a digital collectible on your dining table? Do you mean he had his laptop open on the dining table?
So he can load it up on his phone where he holds his collection. And then if you looked through his phone, he's actually then put the Superman collectible in any part of his real life space. So you still have to obviously view it through the phone. I think in time you'll have like the Apple Pro, like the virtual reality glasses where it'll interact more. But even though it was very cool, it's still at that point I was like, oh, if I want one, I'll just go and buy one, own it physically. But then for someone like me, I'm on holiday at the moment. So going back to your earlier point, Cole, my physical collectibles like my Pogs and Premier League books that have got sentimental value and some real value, I'm scared if I get broken into, they're gone. Well, I can be here and I've got my 7,000 strong collection of comics on my phone. So I think that's a big dynamic for me. And again, I'm a father. I've got 3 young daughters. If I put anything out on the shelves at home, or if I had your space there, Francis, it would just get annihilated. It's the reality. So I think it's people have different moments in their life, but I think for me as a collector, this is a much more easy and seamless way to do it. But yeah, I tend, and I think we've gone about this. Chris and I was on a stream yesterday with someone who was very, I wouldn't say they were anti-grading and anti-digital, but they didn't really get it. But I think we've just said, we're not here to try and plug or convince or shield something. I think it's one of those things, and I know you alluded to it, Cole, I think in time, it just feels like it's going to be inevitable. There'll be some people out there that will be staunch physical collectors, and there'll always be that. And then there'll be people like us that knows this can complement that, and you can dine out in both worlds. But yeah,
well, it's kind of distressing when you hear about the reducing numbers of overall like physical media, like obviously hugely with like physical media for movies and stuff, but even just books. And even comic books, as big as the comic book world still seems to be from a collector standpoint. And if you go to a comic book store, in fact, 3 comic book stores closed here in Los Angeles in the last year, and you hear about the reduction. And so the idea that this could keep that whole world alive of collecting comics might actually end up helping keep the physical world of comics going as well.
That's a huge
question. Self-custody seems to be an argument voiced by physical collectors as an obstacle delaying the digital fandom. Do publishers share that sentiment? What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, that's such a good question that ties into what Francis was just saying. I don't know how far back you go in media and campaign management, Francis. I mean, there was a time I used to sell yellow pages, if anybody remembers what those were. Right? So,
yeah, where companies would name themselves like A.
You had 5 A's in front of your name. That was horrible. But suddenly I remember, and that was a pretty good gig when I was in my younger years, and we did extremely well. But then all of a sudden, this company called Google turns their lights on, and everybody in the building looked at each other and said, "We're done." And
same with the Thomas Guide. Does it do Carl? Do you remember the Thomas Guide?
I remember that was
pre-GPS. It was this fat book that you had to carry. Everyone had in their trunk of their car or the back seat, because Los Angeles is such a rat's nest. There's no way to know your way around, no matter how long you lived here fully, without a guide.
Well, in fact, I used to read the Thomas Guide on my pastime to memorize it, so I could
There you go.
go anywhere in Los Angeles. And I love driving, so I'm always the designated driver. So I would take time to memorize, so I literally knew where everything was. So you could name.
And the pages for like Hollywood, where my meetings and stuff would get so like frayed, and they'd come out, and then I'd have to like find a way to attach them back. Yeah. So anyway, you're right.
Well, that's what happened, right? And so it wasn't that we didn't need. I know X here used to put what's a physical phone book on. Perfect. It's not like we still don't need phone books. It just they digitized, right? And so. And now even the digitization of phone books, it went from you had to manually type something in to now you just ask your phone and or chat, you know, and it's spitting out the answer. And I then worked in, you know, for a bunch of years in Canada's largest newspaper chain. And there was a time, and I refer to this all, it was just so funny, right? We're in a boardroom, there's 20 people, and there's 2 of us that represented the digital side of the company. And, you know, 18, 20 senior executives, and one of these sales managers is from a small little town, and she raises her hand. I just have this question. I had a customer who wanted to sell 2 hockey sticks. Of course, it's Canada, right? But wanted to sell 2 hockey sticks for $10 each for $20, but to put the ad in the classified section was $40. And so they asked if there was something that we could do, and there was nothing we could do. It was set up by the rate. That was the lowest price point. And so they canceled the order and they went and listed their sticks on this Craigslist. You know, what do you guys think about this? They listed them for free. And the answer was, ain't no garage sale company ever going to take down the newspaper classifieds, right? Well, who has a newspaper subscription anymore?
Yeah.
So again, it's just the way that it's not the content itself isn't important. It's just the way that we're distributing it changes. And so that's really what we're seeing happening here. And where I think a lot of people and I'll reference Vivi again, and to respects, you know, DC did this really well when they started too, but they made this extremely easy. We always talk about the easy button. I didn't have to know crypto. And trust me, I've gone down the rabbit hole. I'm one of the people, I bought SafeMoon just to figure out how to buy it. Not that I ever thought I was going to make money in it, right? But and I'm like, I got to learn this. What's going on out here? So I'm in that space. I understand it. And it's complicated. It's technical. And we all know that pain that as soon as you hit the submit button, and sometimes it took hours for your transaction to complete, you're terrified. You've just given all your money away. And these apps took that away. And so, yes, Vivi might be more of what you would call a walled garden or a private marketplace type of thing, but it's very safe. Some people hate KYC. Other people think this is a great way to weed out bad actors and systems.
KYC? Can you define KYC?
Or know your customer? Am I saying that right?
Know your customer, yeah.
Know your customer,
That's
yeah. Sorry. So,
know your customer.
yeah, like a validation process that are you an actual human that's participating behind the screen, right? And
so Francis, the reason KYC became a thing is because in crypto you could have multiple wallets and you could be anonymous, and then there are just certain new protocols and services that are being launched that require KYC because there's SEC regulations and whatnot that has to be abided to. So KYC became kind of a thing, and in a weird way, I think KYC is becoming the norm now. Like you kind of can't be anonymous as much as you used to, right? I feel like there's still a lot of that going on, but I think it's
well. That's very good. I mean, honestly, I am not a crypto person, and I'm suspicious of the market of crypto, and so. In my mind, I think there may be other people watching who share my feelings. I read the book Number Go Up, and I think it was a pretty. If you haven't, I highly recommend it.
Number Go Up.
It does not paint a pretty portrait of the world of crypto, just because and there's nothing to do really with what we're talking about with Vivi. But I just want to draw a distinction because crypto is that to me is about kind of like trading, and speculating and all that and stuff. And there's an element of that with collectors because they buy comic books to resell them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be into any of that to be interested in collecting comic books digitally as another way to do it. And I think that stuff that you're talking about, those safeguards are probably extremely valuable to bring new people in, people that aren't just crypto enthusiasts, that aren't just like, already buying into the whole concept. You don't have to be into any of that to be interested in collecting digitally. So I think Vivi creating a safe space like that is probably a good thing.
I think if you go down that even further, Francis, that when you ask, if you pulled 100 Vivi users and said, why did you come here? A lot of them are going to say, well, I came through crypto. I heard about the OMI token, which powers all this stuff. Yeah. But what also brought me in was the brands themselves, the IP. So when you started seeing Marvel, Lucasfilm, Back to the Future, James Bond, now it's Capcom, Street Fighter, the level of brand that's in this app, there's over 200, 250, like some of the world's most powerful nostalgic brands. Coca-Cola's in this.
Yeah.
Disney is in this. Disney's first Star Wars NFTs they're called their golden moments. That's C-3PO and R2-D2.
Yeah, so 24/7 are in this as well.
24/7.
Yeah, we're definitely in it.
But that's a great point. I don't want to interrupt, Chris, but I want to come back to that, Daniel, because I'm interested in what potential there is for the more independent side, the smaller publishers. Carl, we're 24/7. We're not Marvel, we're a smaller, more.
But think about that for a second, right? You're not Marvel, but you're actually playing in the same sandbox they are, and so. Yeah. Marvel fan that comes into the app is suddenly exposed to 24/7, and all the new independent publishers are in here. And I gotta say, the artwork is incredible, and a lot of collectors are now buying these assets just for the covers alone, because then, like, I've got stuff I've blown up and put on the wall and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But what I think will happen, going back to that chat about how the distribution of content changes, I think if anything, what we're also seeing is that Vivi and these apps have brought in an entirely new audience that didn't exist before. Yes. There are countries all over the world that didn't even have access to comic books or have a comic book store. The product wasn't available. It was extremely difficult to acquire, with shipping and overseas and air flight and insurance and damage and all of that. And suddenly this is now a global space. Anybody can participate. You can transact through a marketplace to anyone in the world at any time of day. It's opened up the distribution and the accessibility of the space. And what's happening, we saw this early on with Vivi. People were buying their digital comic books first and then seeking out the physical to pair them with. And I think what's going to happen now, that we hope happens, is that if I've never purchased a comic book and had it physically graded, and I go through the process of doing this digitally, and I see the asset, it looks beautiful, it was a lot of fun, it represents maybe some numerical significance or whatever it is, I might just be more likely to contact CGC and say, hey, I've got this physical book I'd like to do now. I understand what grading is. And if we're helping the entire industry, I think that's the real aim here. So make it grow as an entire space. And Vivi sold over 5 million digital comic books now.
Yeah,
it's not a small number.
Well, and helping artists and helping creators, like, younger people today don't collect. It still kind of boggles my mind. They don't collect movies, and I mean, some of them are collectors. Like, records have had a resurgence.
Resurgence.
Right. In a big way. Like Target, it astonished me because I've been a record collector since the early '90s, and it astonished me that whenever 2 years ago I went into Target and all the CD shelves were gone and there were all records. But with movies, there's these streaming services now. And that's kind of where they get access to their movies. And streaming services are a very unreliable way to count. I mean, a movie could be there one day and disappear the next. And so stuff becomes so much more ephemeral. And if there's a way to kind of transfer that sense of ownership, if you really love this comic, this movie, this art piece and you can own it, but it's digitally instead, then that can be a way to keep this stuff alive, because I feel like the sort of like shrinking of value of movies because of the nature of streaming. And I'm thinking specifically of independent creators. I was an independent filmmaker before becoming an independent comic creator. And so I'm always looking at it from that angle. Now, to what degree is there opportunity in VV for the more independent, smaller publishers, the smaller creators to find a market?
It's a good point, Francis. So what you're talking about is when you say streaming platforms were not reliable, meaning, I think there was a few scenarios where Apple made some transitions, and then when they transitioned, a lot of your streaming licenses kind of got deleted. Same for Amazon. And people were really upset because they lost their license, so you lose your license. So we're like, wait a minute, I thought I bought this, right? And then what you're seeing was very similar scenario with Comixology, where Comixology had licenses from all these Marvel, DC titles. And then when Amazon bought them and transitioned them into Kindle, all of a sudden you lost your library. You're like, what the F? I bought all this stuff, right? And so I'll kind of parlay this into answering this question for SFD Lieutenant. Can you explain the difference between digital copies and PDF? So the PDFs are literally just digital printables. It's our version, I guess, of streaming, but in a way, we allow you to own this file. That's not limited. Now, why we have chosen,
and there's no value attached to it other than the
so the value of it is you being able to read it, right? You're being able to read it, you being able to share with your friends. Totally fine. Pass it around. The more the merrier. But if you're a collector, we chose VV as our exclusive digital partner for distribution because I do believe there's an intrinsic value in collecting these books. And if you look at our supply at 24/7 Comics, we're very intentional in each of our supplies. And so you'll notice that we adjust to the market. And to me, I actually believe that, some of these, back issues catalog that are low supply will in turn be more valuable over time because people are going to dive into this and, oh my gosh, I didn't get placement number 2. And how many times have we in physical collecting been like, where the hell is issue number 2 on my collection? Because that's usually when, the orders drop 70%. A hot title will get really expensive.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, everyone has number 1. Number 2 gets super expensive. Then 3 and 4 it goes back up. So I'm a big fan of that. So by design, we're really conscious of limiting our supply on the digital front. And that's why we don't really supply to Comixology. We don't supply to Global Comics for that very reason. Because to me, it's like, you know what? If I'm going to supply to them, I'd rather give you guys a PDF that you guys can hold and pass around. And if you want to actually own one of the supplies, go on VV. That's our exclusive distributor. And it's by choice. It's not like David forced us to be like, you have to only be with us. We chose to be with VV.
Yeah, and your point, Francis, as well. The community we've got at VV is very passionate, generally speaking. It's very committed. So when you guys dropped Heroes Be Damned, I want to say a few months back, that was a sellout. Like you said, Carl, you got the edition number absolutely on point. And there's collectors in this space that recognised, the work that's done by you guys. The cult, I suppose, feeling between us collectors want to be part of that. So I definitely think there is a way, whether it's 24/7 or an independent publisher, artist, there's ways to come in and get some great exposure and really make some ground out. I don't know if you see, Carl, I emailed you over another slab we did, and it's probably a good example. It's a good visual example of how we can, work, I suppose, from the DGC perspective with local artists or even people that are more established. So we did a slab of someone owned Giant Size X-Men in digital format. It was they've got an edition number 222, so an angel mint, and it's their baby. And they're also an artist, and they've created a custom back for the slab of their own art. It doesn't infringe on the IP in any way. So yeah, obviously Giant Size X-Men. So the back of this is their artwork.
That's fun.
It was a great way. He's really well known in our space. It was a way for us to sort of celebrate what he does, and for him, he'll treasure this now. And just going quickly fast forward to another that point we talked about PDF and whatnot. So at the moment, this is an MP4 file, but we'll soon be going on chain. So this will become an NFT in its own right. It's something we've got plans to go early next year. So, but yeah, so I think that's probably just a visual example of the sort of things you can do with a more the customization side of it.
Yeah. So with that said, why don't we
give us just, if you don't know VV at all, what happens? You go on VV, you go into the website, you create an account, and then you can start collecting, buying, and selling stuff. I actually don't know what it means when you say it'll be on chain soon. I actually don't.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that
You're minting these things on a blockchain, like Carl said earlier, like Ethereum and whatnot. And so the advantage of that to a collector is that minting on a blockchain as a digital asset or an NFT, if we like the term, proves its scarcity and it proves its digital ownership. And this is something that I talk about a lot. Like I write part-time for Go Collect, and I wrote an article once about when VV dropped Marvel Comics #1. And it was interesting. The feedback I got, not a lot of people even knew that was a book, right? I mean, it came out in 1939. It was way back. But it's one of the most important pieces because that was the book that turned Timely into Marvel and launched everything that we know about comics today, basically on the Marvel side. And here was this, this asset that suddenly has, 60,000 of these things minted. That's all there will ever be. Now, in the terms of today with scarcity and whatnot, 60,000 seems like a lot. However, I always say, I think there's more than 60,000 comic book fans around the world, even Marvel. And so if you're a real Marvel fan and you figure out that you can own just one of these, and right now the common cover is selling for somewhere between $15 and $20, it's proven there will never be any more. Now in Go Collect's world, I think there's 65 on the census that are graded, massively scarce. But we really have no idea how many more exist in the world in basements and bins and someone's gold garbage hampers, all that kind of stuff, right? And so that's the true advantage of digital.
But probably not many at this point.
Probably not many.
39.
Yeah, but here, for instance, if you I just bought, oh my God, not Mindy and Barbie, Evermind #3 with the female bot on the cover, the ultra rare. Yeah. There's only 80 of them that will ever exist.
Yeah.
And that's it. And in VV's world, sometimes they even burn after a certain amount of time comics that don't sell in the store. And so your scarcity even drops a little bit. And so that's why this is easy. When we say you come in, you set up your account, you connect your bank, or you can use a credit card and you buy what are called gems, which are VV's in-app currency. 1 gem equals $1 US, and that's standardized around the world. And now you go in, you buy whatever you want, you have them held in your account, you can read them, access them. There's a private or a public marketplace for all the users that you can sell to anyone in the world that decides that they'll buy your asset when you're finished with it. And there's, like I said, there's now like 250 different types of collectibles you can buy. There's comics, there's statues, there's one-of-one art pieces. There's so much. I know
we have the digital toy that we offered to day one backers. Without going too far into the weeds or turning this into an infomercial for VV, let me just, since you guys are connected to these, you're tied to them. What to reference Carl's story about what happened at Comixology? What if VV decide, merges with someone or something? Did I just freeze? Yeah. I'm still talking. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We can still hear you. And then Stan actually had a similar question as you, Francis. I don't think you were kind of reading that, but yeah.
I can still hear you guys, and you guys are still active, but I look frozen on my screen. It doesn't matter to me.
You're frozen on our screen too. It's okay. We can hear you.
Happens, once you own your digital assets on VV, is it protected beyond, indefinitely, no matter what happens to VV, the company?
Mm-hmm. Dan, do you want to go, or I can go? What do you like? Yes.
Can we get David on the line? I think this is a question for him. I think that there's definitely there is bad actors in the NFT world. That's undeniable. There's so much out there. But yeah, going back to this point, this is licensed digital collectibles. So if you look deep into the terms and conditions with VV, I'm confident from what I've seen, these would be protected even if VV disappeared. You know, they're on that blockchain. There's the proof of ownership there. And I think the more you get familiar and know the company and the people behind it, David Yu, Dan Carruthers, and then they're actually contracted with the likes of Disney, Star Wars, you know, all of these brands, I would like to think the risk is much lower. There probably is a risk, but I would say the risk is almost negligible. For example, Cole, you probably can answer this. If it went down, what happens to our 24/7 comics? You know,
I know.
Yeah. I hope I still own them.
I'll say this. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, my answer would be, you know, nothing lasts forever, but it will last through our lifetime. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Because I think there's going to be, you know, let me think without sharing too much of what's under the hood. Let's just say I think, you know, I believe in David and Dan's vision, and they are long-term thinkers, that they would have addressed this already, if not in the near future. So Stan, hopefully that answers your question. And, you know, while we're kind of the last end of the hour, I don't want you guys waiting too long. I know you guys all have, you know, this conversation has been awesome, guys. I think we could keep going, but I think we have an audience right now, about 42 viewers that's been building, that I think are just waiting for the big moment. That we're all here for this Wednesday wins. And one more time, like, if you guys don't mind, maybe give a quick TLDR on what's going down, because there are 3 prizes, and why don't you guys kind of present this grand prize first, and then I'll share a few of the other prizes, and then we'll go right to the drawing, guys. I mean, I think that's the play.
Well, if you're okay, I can take this one, Chris.
Yeah, take it away.
So yeah, what you're seeing there is the front cover of the EVERMIND 1, which is the digital version that's on VV. So this is edition number 2024, being the publication year 2024. So in our world, the publication edition number equivalent is typically the most valuable. So we're doing this a giveaway. Unfortunately, it's coming from our personal collection. So I was hoping initially Cole would say this is a terrible idea, let's not do it, but it's coming from our collection. So what we've done, we've then actually slabbed it, we've graded it, which would achieve a 10.0 in our grading methodology, and the blue label signifies historic, being that it's historical a year in terms of the comic. So yeah, if someone's lucky enough to win this, they'll have they'd need to be on VV, they need to be KYC'd, but then they would actually receive this into their collection once they've been announced as the winner.
It's awesome. And,
I should add the biggest part of this as well. It's digitally signed. So Daniel Wu and Sean Chen have signed the top of the comic, as you can see there. That, from what I understand, is the first of its kind in terms of an actual digitally graded slab that has been signed, and been signed by obviously 2 unbelievable legends in the movie world and the comic book world.
Yeah, first of its kind, and, you know, one lucky winner.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
One lucky winner.
Awesome.
So I'll dive into what else you may be able to win. Let me move this at this stage. So this has been a great campaign from day one. I've had inquiries from other publishers, so I'd be happy to make some introductions, DGC team, because other publishers saw this and asked me, hey, like, keep me posted on how it goes, because it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea to encourage folks to back early. So thank you, folks who backed on day one, because you are going to see a reflection on you know, you having doubled up on your chances to win. And then, you know, first prize, not only are you getting the first ever minted number 2024 from DGC Graded, signed digitally, you're also getting a physical slab signed by Daniel and Sean. And so it's a double whammy. And then second place, we do have this graded artist edition. Very popular choice for a lot of folks who love Sean's art. And then the third place will be a graded 9.8 physical of EVERMIND number 1. So Yeah, guys, I think without further ado, let me
So,
just.
Carl, I just added another name.
Oh my
because
goodness!
Someone
There it
recently
is.
they just increased their pledge, and that
Okay.
means they get in double because it's a Wednesday. So I wanted to make sure you have the absolute latest list.
Oh man, EXSSFD Lieutenant, we are adding you live. So in the form of transparency,
So
I want to.
He's got he or she ex-SSFD lieutenant has 2 shots at it.
Yep. So
And-
want to kind of just thank Karen and Francis, the team, for preparing this list in the spirit of transparency. This is what it looks like. So you should be able to see your name in this. And then I have
And
sent.
if you were a day 1 backer or a Wednesday backer, you should see your name twice. That's how.
Correct.
Well, look, I'm a day 1 backer, and I hope I'm still on that list because if I win first place, I'm keeping it. So
There you go.
You got this is how many. Yeah, this is 1 in however many chances here.
All right, so I'm adding this here live on this reel, and then I think are we all ready to go? I mean, we got Stan here saying, "Wow, this is huge." Yes, it is, Stan. I think it's history in the making. I hope to do a lot more of these going forward. E-Man's World of Geek sounds like a shop. E-Man's, we'd love to hear from you. If you're an actual shop, we would love to send you some books. Super interested in EVERMIND. I actually will continue being interested in EVERMIND because I think it is Sean Chen's magnum opus. And then we have one of our team members here. She was wishing everyone's luck, but I can't seem to find her post. Oh, here's Jane. Says, "Hi everyone, good luck." So yes, good luck, guys. Are you guys ready for the spin?
Jane in Ukraine.
Yes. Yeah. You guys ready for the spin? All right, here goes.
bad luck, everyone, barring my submission. Yeah.
Oh, I shuffled it. I'll shuffle it 3 times. How about that? And then how do you do this? How do you do this? You just
what, to actually do the draw?
Yeah, where's the trigger to have it spin?
Is it the
click
white?
there it is.
Middle. Here goes. We're drawing.
Okay.
There's so many names. I don't even know if we can see who wins. All right. What's up 2025?
Well done.
Gus. Are we doing number 3 or number 1?
We're counting up to the big winner. That's
so Gus, you are a 3rd prize winner.
Yeah.
On
Woo!
this EVERMIND number 1 DGC. Congrats, Gus. All right. So that was the 3rd place winner for our 2nd place.
I'm making a note of it on our play page here.
Please do, Francis. Please keep track because I am not keeping track. And here's for the artist edition. We are going to spin one more time. Okay, I'm gonna remove Gus then, yeah, and then we'll.
Yeah.
All right, next, boom. Number 2. All right, wish you guys luck. Number 2 winner will be John Jairo Arenas Ferrero. That's a long name.
John.
And then it looks like you're on twice. We'll just remove you one.
All right.
Was that day 1, October 7th?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
What's day 1? Yeah, congrats.
Yeah.
Thank you for that support. And so because he is on
2nd place winner. So here we
go.
All
right, guys.
And so we'll contact you directly. We may not. I don't know how much information we have to reach you before the campaign ends next week. Meaning we might not have your email address and all that. We could probably contact you directly through Kickstarter though. We'll let you know.
Francis, we could do it after we close. So after we close, we'll have all their information. That's probably the easiest.
All right. So this is for not only the physical slab, but this is the one for the DGC digital slab copy. This is the grand prize. And
the double signed signature series, which I don't have one on me right now because they're at the warehouse. But with that said,
so physical one that matches it, which is graded 9.8, I think. Is that correct?
9.8 CGC signature series, the yellow label,
and 10.0 DGC digital version.
All right, guys, here goes.
Good luck, Daniel.
Yeah, good luck, Daniel. It'd be so funny if Daniel wins this one. Ryan Brewster.
Another day one.
Another day one backer.
Awesome. You know what? I am so happy that we're rewarding the day one backers.
Yeah,
Ryan,
true.
you guys, thank you so much. Francis, you want to name the winners one more time so everyone knows?
Absolutely. Third place winner is Gus. The what's
Gus.
the word when you have one name? Yes, Gus. And then second place winner makes up for the one name with 4 names. John Jairo Arenas Foreno, also a day one backer, won second place prize, and then Ryan Brewster won the grand prize of the digital and physical slabbed EVERMIND ones.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Can I give us a quick bit of advice to Ryan as well? If he's not on VV, it's a nightmare to get on. KYC's horrible. Don't trust the brand. Don't go on there.
Just reach out to you directly.
Is someone trying to keep their peace then?
Just take whatever offer.
Just don't do it. Just don't claim it at all. Don't respond to the email.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so guys, I mean, we're gonna land this plane, and you know, want to share one more time. You know, EVERMIND has one more week. Just now close out our raffle. Congratulations on all the winners. But
and
we got
still
some
have a few
you guys.
surprises in store for people
Yes.
that come on board. There's going to be more stuff unlocked before the campaign ends. So definitely visit it, check it out. There's a lot more going on besides just this raffle, although this was very exciting.
Yeah, way more surprise to come, and you know, at least go online and watch this trailer that was prepared by our creative director Swaggle who completely killed it. Gave you some great preview of the art and what's to come, and then at the end of this trailer, there's going to be a little message from Mr. Daniel Wu, the co-creator himself. But look at this homage to Sean Chen's Wolverine 159 cover. It's one of the kind of best highlights, I think, of this campaign. So really thank you everyone who's back so far. Tell a friend. We're 1,700 away from our next stretch goal, which is 20,000. And so, you know,
the
our
EJ Sue print. This is really cool.
And EJ Sue print is super cool. We got a lot of variant covers. You could do a lot of individual add-on now. And yes, Lieutenant, you are wise to upgrade to the 11x17 because Sean rarely does 11x17. So congrats on that. For
this one.
That's it. I mean, that's our stream here. Scotchy, congrats to the winner as well. Any words before we land the plane? Chris, why don't you go first? Dan, Francis?
Read your comics.
Yes, read your comics.
I gotta say, I'm going through the EVERMIND right now, and I'm just so enjoying it. Like, it's just a fun read. The art is fantastic. I know a lot of people, especially in the VV space, will buy the assets and forget to read them for some reason, right? But enjoy it. I think at the end of the day, this is a very, very fun space, fun industry to be in. I'm very jealous of your team, Carl, and the work that you guys can do to put these things together. I'm all thumbs when it comes to doing anything creative. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, just enjoy it, because I think at the end of the day, that's really what this is all about. If you can have more fun, please do. And so that's my sign off. And thank you so much for having us, too. It's been
great words of wisdom, Chris.
Yeah, thanks.
Daniel?
And just a big thank you to you guys and Jane and Karen and people you got behind the scenes. I think it's been you realize how much the work Sean and Daniel does is incredible. But I think it really, you understand a lot more deeper when you get involved with a publisher and see what you've got behind the scenes. That is a massive team effort. So just thank you to you guys.
Awesome. Francis, any last words?
I mean, it's a massive effort from a scrappy little team. 24/7 Comics is an indie publisher, truly. I really want to thank Daniel and Chris for coming to us. The original idea of the giveaway and everything that it's led to has been so much fun. And thanks for spending time and educating us on the digital collection side of comics. It's a very interesting world that's opening up, and you guys are helping make that possible.
Yeah, and one thing I've learned is interesting when I think Chris or Daniel, you guys said it's only been like 4 or 5 years. I actually believe the collecting mentality takes a little longer to adjust. So when I first got into 24/7 Comics, we had this 1, 2, 3 year plan. We thought we were gonna make this big splash and everything. But what we've learned is in the world of collectibles and in media, it's more like a 5, 10, 20-year plan. If you want to make an impact, if Marvel took 30 years, what makes you think you could take any less? So
Right.
it's really a passion of love, something that brings us joy, and hopefully we could bring others joy. So everyone, thanks for tuning in today. Another episode of 24/7 Comics Live. We're going to have 2 other streams today, so watch out for us. It'll be a fun time. I might have to change my t-shirt.
It's a busy day.
All right, guys. Thank you.
I will be wearing the same t-shirt.
Yeah, I'll put it on t-shirt.
See you later.
Bye, guys.
Great to meet you, Chris.
Yeah.